Hey y'all, I thought I was gonna take a thumbnail. All right, so it looks like I'm live. I'm gonna start doing these live instead of pre-recording so we can have more engagement and we can ask questions and such. So in this video, we're gonna talk about the difference between getting your own authority in trucking and versus leasing on to a carrier, which is essentially um, running under their authority. So, getting your own authority requires, a bit of paperwork. It's going to cost more. It only costs $300 to actually fill out the application. And then you also have to get a BOC3, which is going to be another, I think, like 30 bucks. So, and I'll talk about that, what that is in another video. And basically, having your own authority means that, you're your own trucking business. You have a full fledged trucking business. You're responsible for the good and the bad. Um, versus you pay your insurance. So, depending on what type of equipment you have, you'll pay a monthly commercial insurance on your truck, and you'll be picking your own loads. You'll be, if you're pulling off the load board, so you'll be booking loads off the load board if you go that route, or you can contact shippers and see if you can get a direct contract or a direct lane with that particular shipper. So, for instance, you may call, I don't know, General Mills if you're running reefer and see if you can, bring your truck under them. Tell them you got one truck and you like to do business with them. So, and it normally, the revenue is a little bit higher that way versus booking off of the load board with a broker because the broker is going to get their cut. And if there's double brokering involved, this broker gonna get their cut and that broker gonna get that, and then it finally gets to you. So sometimes it's double brokering, sometimes it's triple. You just never know. So it's always good to have that have that contract. But some people just solely run off of the spot freight. It allows them to be more flexible. They're not like obligated to be somewhere every day of the week at a certain time. So some people like to get their own authority and run spot freight. So that's an option as well. Let's see. So that's having your own authority. And there's more paperwork, it's more cost that goes into it. And I can say that if you are doing that, if you have your own authority, you're driving and you're dispatching yourself off the load boards, it can be kind of hectic, you know. Um, I think for me, like I would try to either get a direct freight with a shipper so that I don't have to sit on the load board, so I don't have to talk to brokers and fill out carrier packets and things like that. Or I will hire a dispatcher at a reasonable rate so that can take that burden off of me. And the dispatcher can find me loads. They can fill out the broker carrier agreements. They can sign my rate confirmation sheets. They can do my invoicing. So at that point, all I got to do is maintain my authority, pay my bills, and drive my truck. So that's an option as well. But there are truck owner operators that do all, full circle, do everything themselves. So there are benefits to having that and having your own authority. But then some people decide to get their own equipment and lease on. So lease on works like you don't have your own authority. You're running under their authority. You don't have to pay insurance. You don't have to, um, you know, you don't. It's just a less of a headache. And a lot of the times that if you lease on to somebody, they already have freight. You lease on to a Landstar or you lease on to a Snyder or a JB Hunt and they already have freight and you can just click and book. with those carriers, and you don't have to sit and negotiate with brokers, and you don't have to pay your monthly insurance, that which can be, $2,000, $2,500. It could be anywhere from like 18 to $2,500. Some people end up having to pay more depending on your records, your driving records. So that takes a little bit of stress off of the driver, and it's definitely an option. Some people will say that you're not really running a trucking business if you don't have your own authority. Um, I think everybody's journey is just different. You do whatever you can handle. You can also, because a lot of mega carriers that you lease onto, most of the time they're going to want at least 18%. They're going to want, most cases, 20 something percent. I know at Prime it was 27%. Um, and that was running reefer. And so you are giving up a good point of revenue, but then you have to look at it like they are providing you with consistent freight, and you don't have to do all this paperwork, and you don't have to fill out agreements and sign raycons and send in invoicing, and you know so it does take a lot off of you when you just lease on to a carrier. And so that's basically the main difference between having your own authority versus leasing on to a carrier. Leasing on it's a lot less work, basically. And I've done both. I have been a lease operator, and I have also been a true owner operator with my own authority. And I will say that having your own authority is definitely stressful. It's definitely stressful. But I think, like just with anything in life, once you get the hang of it, it becomes like second nature to you. But I do recommend, a lot of people don't, I could dispatch myself and things like that. I definitely, one way or other, like I definitely think it's a good idea to have some type of help, whether that's training a niece or training a child or somebody to learn how to dispatch off the low boards, and you pay them, however you want to do it, to take some of that off. You can even like I dispatch. I wouldn't say I dispatch for a carrier, but I also like to do people's back office work. I don't, you can find your own loads, and I'll just sign your broker carrier agreements, sign your rate confirmation sheets, and do your invoicing for half of the price or half of the cost of providing full service dispatching. So that's another option. That definitely take some stress off, any driver that wants to, like, with fuel costs being up so high and rates being kind of low. Um, hey, Big Rig, hey. With fuel costs being so high and fuel costs being so high, rates being so low, you may not want to pay a dispatcher 5, 10%, or definitely not 10% right now. I don't care what nobody's talking about. Shoot, definitely not 10%, but you still need some help in some capacity. So you may hire them to just do your back office work. Sign these broker agreements, fill out this rate con sheet, do this invoicing, and I'll pay you $150 a week or whatever it may be, just to take some of this load off of me. So those are your options, y'all. Next time I come on here, I am going to talk about the BOC3. We're going to do some Q&A and things like that. I just want to come in and show my face. And it's probably been like a month since I've been on here. So thank y'all so much for tuning in. And next time, come with some questions. All right. Peace, y'all.